2022 was a top year for new music. We saw Arctic Monkeys return with their horrible new sound. Joking, it was beautiful. Beyoncé returned with a somewhat surprising new X-rated album, Renaissance. And we had brand new music from Miles Kane, Liam Gallagher, Phoenix, Kasabian, Lizzo, The Weeknd, Tay-Tay, and many, many more. And last but not least, let's be honest here, a fantastic new album from the new poster boy of indie rock himself, Harry Styles. But the question is, given all these artists released brand new music last year, what do we have to look forward to in 2023? First things first, I hope everybody had a fantastic festive period and a very happy new year. Mine was personally a bit of a roller coaster of emotions. Not only did I somehow manage to contract the worst illness I think I've ever had in my life, lasting approximately 7 weeks, but my partner and I also managed to get onto the property ladder and move into our own place. Hence the silent treatment I'd be giving all of you guys here on YouTube. My weekends have just been consisting of packing and unpacking boxes, quite frankly. And also hence the pretty uninteresting backdrop at present. Hopefully I can change that for you guys fairly soon. Now, January is one of those months where it's pretty quiet in the world of music. So what better way to kick off the new year than to look forward to the most anticipated albums to be released in 2023. I'll talk through the ones that I'm most looking forward to that have been confirmed before moving on to those that have been heavily rumoured. Let's get into it. So in the rock category, my favourite category, obviously, an album from an artist that just never disappoints in my book. Just a few weeks away actually, in February, which is a month that is crammed full of new music releases by the way, is Paramore's 6th studio album, This Is Why. It's been roughly 5-ish years since Paramore's last album, After Laughter, which in my opinion was a surprising yet incredibly rewarding left turn to a more snappy, poppy sound. It certainly wasn't for everyone, but for you hardcore Paramore fans, you'll be pleased to know that the guitars are getting distorted again on this new one. Not to mention as well that the sound of the new lead single, This Is Why, certainly nods its head to Paramore of old. Really excited for this one. And just a week after, Inhaler dropped their new album, Cuts and Bruises. Now, Inhaler, if you haven't heard of them, are an up-and-coming indie rock band from Dublin, Ireland, and are currently taking the indie rock world by storm. Their lead singer, usually referred to as Bono's son, actually has a voice that's very reminiscent of his father. But the band is so much more than that. They're writing their own songs, touring and playing pretty much everywhere at the moment, respect to them. And they're currently supporting Arctic Monkeys on their world tour, so ones to watch for me. Moving on to the week after this release, and we have a brand new album from Gorillaz called Cracker Island. Huge fan of Gorillaz, even after Damon Albarn's recent keyboard warrior behaviour, Soz Taylor. But we can forgive him because Gorillaz continue to be a hugely interesting creative outlet, doing pretty much stuff that no one else does. The single New Gold, already released from this album, features Tame Impala. So naturally, I'm pretty excited to see what other big name artists are going to make a cameo on this new album. Okay, so released on the same date as Gorillaz, we have a hotly anticipated second album from the band that are from my neck of the woods in Greater Manchester, the Lathums. A great little indie folk band. If you haven't heard of them, I suggest you go and check their music out. And can I just say that the new album title is just so Manchester? From nothing to a little bit more. How bleak is that? It sounds like something that Morrissey would pen for his new album title. But yeah, I'm just really excited to see what the Lathums do for album number 2. Considering album number 1, called How Beautiful Life Can Be, released a couple of years ago, just had so much praise from indie rock mainstays like the Monkees and Miles Kane alike. Now on to March, and the big name release for this month is the brand new album from DMA's How Many Dreams. Now I'll be honest, I don't really know a huge amount about DMA's. I've obviously heard their big songs, but I've not really had the chance to go deep, but I keep being told to. So this band's one that I've got on my radar over the next couple of months. I'm really going to start listening to them a little bit more and see what they're about. I'm really enjoying some of their singles at the moment, like Tape Dead Sick and Everybody's Saying Thursday's the Weekend, which is another great song title, I must say. If you work in the city in a corporate office job, then you know. And finally, I just had to include this one because, well, it's Metallica. Their 12th studio album, 72 Seasons, is being released on the 14th of April of this year. Now, I'm sure this legendary band won't disappoint, and I'm looking forward to listening to some heavy guitar music as well. But given their past 11 albums have sounded pretty similar, I think we know what to expect from the band this time around. what's that phrase? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So on to the albums that haven't yet been announced but are heavily tipped to be released this year. First up, we have the Libertines, a great band and one of my favourites growing up as a kid. Incredible to me that this band have been around for over 20 years, but only have 3 albums to their name. Not exactly what I'd call prolific, but what they have released has been nothing short of exceptional. There are 2 things that you can always count on with Pete Doherty and Cole Barrett: shambolic guitar playing and genius songwriting and lyrical content, both of which I'm actually quite excited for on this new album. Next up, The Killers are rumoured to be releasing a new album this year. After their somewhat strange sounding last album, I'm excited to see where they're headed next in terms of their sound. Moving on, I just can't wait for this next one if the rumours are indeed true. Jack Black and Kyle Gass are rumoured to be teaming up again for Tenacious D's 5th studio album. The Pick of Destiny is probably in my top 10 films of all time, to be honest, so I'm really excited for this new album, but I do hope there's some funny video content to go alongside it. I'm hoping they'll be on the festival circuit as well. Be great to see them at Glasgow. Tom Mayen is also expected to release his first debut album as a solo artist this year. A man I've always looked up to as a frontman and somebody that I feel a little bit sorry for given everything that's happened with Kasabian. Side note, for those of you that thinks he deserves everything that's happened to him, I strongly urge you to go and watch James Hargreaves' video on this topic. We hear from the man himself, and let's just say everything isn't always what it seems. Everyone deserves a second chance in my opinion, and I can't wait to hear what he's been cooking up. Now, given this video is already pretty long, I'm just going to rattle through these next few. Miles Kane has been posting snippets of himself back in the studio this year, so hopefully we'll see a new album from him pretty soon. Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds are also expected to release an album this year, amongst Wet Leg, great band by the way, The Vaccines, PJ Harvey, Blink-182, and The Cure, who I believe haven't released an album in like 15 years, is it, or something? That should be interesting. And finally, I want to leave you with this wild card. Foo Fighters. Yep, you heard me correctly, Foo Fighters. Some interesting recent news around the Foo Fighters. They've actually announced that they're going to be touring again, and they're actually going to be headlining some festivals in the summer of this year. Now, I'm not going to lie, it feels quite soon to be honest, because it's only just been over a year since the death of Taylor Hawkins, their legendary drummer. So it looks as though the band have made a conscious decision to continue. And I'll probably make a separate video over the coming weeks if we hear any more around who this drummer is going to be that's going to replace Taylor in the band's lineup, at least for live anyway. But for now, I think it's reasonable to assume that the band will tour Medicine at Midnight, their last album, given they never actually got to finish that touring cycle, given everything that happened. However, if I was the band, if I was Dave Grohl, I'd want to leave Taylor's legacy intact and just draw a line in the sand under this album and just move on to something different, something new. And the best way to do that is to make new music. Maybe not a full-length album, but a song or two, who knows? I mean, it's a possibility, but is it likely? Let me know what you think in the comments. And lastly, to be inclusive of other music genres, here are a few pop, R&B and rap artists all releasing new music this year. Britain's favourite soft lad, Lewis Capaldi, is releasing his 2nd studio album, Broken by Desire to be Heavenly Sent, in May of this year. Hopefully the production isn't as bland on this one. Dua Lipa, Olivia Rodrigo, The Weeknd and Rihanna are all rumoured to be releasing new music this year. I'm actually really excited to see Rihanna's return. She's a bit of a legend in the R&B space, so I'm hoping she's going to headline Glastonbury as the R&B headliner this year, but one can dream for now. Frank Ocean and Slow Tie are also rumoured to be releasing new albums, and Lana Del Rey is also rumoured to be releasing new music this year. Huge fan of hers, and I actually thought her last album working with Jack Antonoff worked really well, so I'm excited to see what she does next in terms of sound. And for you rap enthusiasts, Tyler the Creator, Travis Scott and A$AP Rocky are all releasing brand new music this year. So as usual, I'll be reviewing and giving my reactions and opinions to some of these albums when they get released this year, and at the same time hopefully some insights into what is happening in the indie rock music scene. So I do hope you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you enjoyed the video or found it somewhat helpful, do consider hitting that like button because apparently it does help me out. Remember to save those dates though. So if you are interested in watching me react to or review some of last year's releases like Arctic Monkeys' new album The Car, then here are some links to some videos you should watch next.